Have you ever caught yourself doing something that even you find weird, almost creepy, and you can't explain why? That quiet unease, that feeling of, why do I do this? It's not random. It's what trauma leaves behind. These are the creepy things victims of narcissistic abuse do without even realizing it. And if you stay until the end, you'll see that every weird habit you've been ashamed of actually has a hidden reason, and more importantly, a way to heal from it. Now let's start with one of the strangest patterns of all, the one that happens entirely inside your own mind. Have you ever caught yourself replaying an argument in your head over and over, changing what you said, fixing every word, trying to make it end differently? You win this time, at least in your mind. It feels harmless, right? But it's not, because what you're doing isn't thinking, it's reliving. This is the first creepy thing victims of narcissistic abuse do. They mentally rehearse conversations that never happened. And here's the part that most people miss. Your brain isn't obsessed, it's scared. After walking on eggshells for so long, your mind learned to prepare for emotional attack. It rewinds, edits, and replays to find the perfect response, the one that might have kept you safe. According to Dr. Susan Nolan Hoeksema of Yale University, this loop is called rumination, a trauma-driven habit where the brain replays distressing moments, trying to solve pain that logic can't touch. It's not madness, it's unfinished fear. So next time you notice it, stop. Take a breath. Whisper, "I'm safe now." That single line tells your body the war is over, that you don't need to argue with ghosts anymore. You're not broken for doing this. You were protecting yourself the only way you knew how. But healing starts when you stop rehearsing old pain and start trusting that your voice is safe here, in this moment. Because once your mind begins to quiet down, another pattern surfaces, one that shows up not in your thoughts, but in your eyes. Sometimes you catch yourself staring, studying faces, reading tones, tracking every tiny shift in someone's breath. You don't mean to, but you can't stop. You're not being weird, you're being hyper-aware. And that awareness, it once kept you safe. But here's the truth most people never see. The second creepy thing is that you stare too deeply into people's eyes. Not to connect, but to predict danger. You learn to read emotions like survival codes. A flicker of anger meant run. A sigh meant brace yourself. You became a mind reader because you had to be, not because you wanted to be.
Did you know that having a hangover is not having enough water in your body to run your Krebs cycles? Which is exactly what happens to you when you're dying of thirst.
It's a skill, yes, but also a cage, a quiet prison that makes every room feel like a test. When you catch yourself doing it again, pause, take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the room, the colors, the sounds. Let your eyes see the world, not just the threat. Because empathy built on fear isn't empathy. It's self-defense wearing a smile. And the moment that fear begins to fade, something beautiful happens. You stop scanning for danger and start seeing people again. And once that calm returns, another strange behavior begins to surface. One that hides not in your eyes, but in the way you control your space. Have you ever feel uneasy when things aren't in the right place? A dish slightly off-center, a drawer not closed all the way. And suddenly, you can't relax until it's fixed. It's exhausting, isn't it? That constant urge to make everything just right. You tell yourself you're just being neat, but deep down, you know it's not about cleanliness. It's about control. This is the third. You organize everything perfectly just to feel safe. When your emotions were once unpredictable, your environment became the only thing you could manage. Every folded towel, every spotless surface says, "Here, I decide what happens." But here's the truth. Perfection doesn't bring peace. It only quiets the fear for a moment. So try this. Leave one thing imperfect on purpose. A cup slightly crooked. A bed not tucked tight. It's not failure. It's freedom practice. Because peace doesn't live in perfect corners. It lives in knowing that life can be a little messy and you'll still be okay. And once you start letting go of that need to control, another strange habit quietly appears. One that doesn't show in your hands, but in your silence. Have you ever felt your chest tighten when someone says something that cuts deep, but instead of speaking, you freeze? Your mind screams 100 words, yet your mouth won't move. It's like your voice disappears the moment you need it most. This is the fourth creepy thing victims of narcissistic abuse do. They go completely silent when something feels wrong. Not because they don't care, but because long ago, silence was safer than truth. According to trauma expert Dr. Judith Herman of Harvard Medical School, many survivors learn to suppress emotional expression as a form of protective submission. The body literally shuts down the voice to avoid conflict or punishment, a habit that once kept you alive, but now keeps you invisible. When this happens, don't force yourself to shout. Start small. Whisper it to yourself first. That hurt me. That quiet honesty tells your nervous system that it's finally safe to be heard again. You're not weak for going silent. You were trained to survive. But healing starts when you let your voice return, even in whispers, because your voice was never the enemy. It was always the key to your freedom. And once you begin to speak again, you'll uncover the final and most heartbreaking pattern of all, the one that hides in the way you see yourself. You say sorry when someone bumps into you. You apologize for asking a question, for taking up space, for breathing too loudly. And here it is. The fifth creepy thing is that you apologize for simply existing. This habit is what happens when your spirit learns to beg for permission to be alive. You were conditioned to believe that your presence was a problem.
I'm sorry.
But you're not sorry. You're scared. Scared of being too much, too loud, too visible. So next time you catch yourself saying sorry for nothing, replace it with thank you for understanding. It shifts your energy from guilt to gratitude, from fear to confidence, because you don't need permission to exist. You never did. If you recognized yourself in any of these, take a deep breath. You're not broken, and you're not creepy. You're a survivor whose mind learned to protect you in ways that now seem strange, but they were acts of strength, not weakness. Awareness is the turning point. The moment you see it, you begin to heal it, because recovery isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the pain taught you to hide. So tell me in the comments, which of these habits hit you the hardest today? And if this video spoke to you, give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We go deeper every week. And before you go, watch this next video right here. It exposes the patterns most people never notice, but once you do, you'll never see your own mind the same way again.